Today it's time to find out exactly who killed Doctor Strange as we bring the death of Doctor Strange to its finale. This is the Comicstorian channel. I make audio dramas of your favorite comic books. We cut out a lot of the B plots and we reduce the amount of panels that we use, which gives you something to collect when you go to your local store. All of the alterations that we make are to prevent copyright problems. Now, the death of Doctor Strange was a crossover that Marvel decided to do to tie into the movie Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange was murdered in the very beginning of the story. What we discovered is that a young version of Doctor Strange came into the future to solve his own murder. While this is going on, the dimensional barriers surrounding Earth have broken down, which means that our heroes, the Avengers, the X-Men, are dealing with the fallout of the death of the Sorcerer Supreme. So today we're going to find out who actually killed him and discover what the Marvel Universe is going to do without their Sorcerer Supreme. Mordo hides behind his door, having just listened to the young Doctor Strange, Clea, and Wong fight their way through his castle. Fear in his eyes as Strange threatens to finally kill him. But he stops. No, he says simply, a look of determination in his eyes as he opens the door, revealing himself to his foes. I am Baron Coral Amadeus Mordo, Lord of Castle Mordo. I have done much evil in my life and I feel remorse for none of it. My only regret, my single lament, is that I am innocent of the murder that you accuse me of, Strange. And I will not be spoken to in such a manner in my own home, he says grimly to the trio of heroes, tossing his cloak, his eyes at their feet, folding his arms and asking Strange, if I had really murdered you, would I lie about it, even if my life is forfeit? He asks, and Strange looks at him for a moment, pondering the question. No. No, damn you. And with that, our heroes leave, having figured out that, well, Mordo didn't do it. So later, back at the Sanctum Sanctorum, Strange stands by while a hologram of Captain America fills him in on their fight against the child and the three mothers, showing him footage of their attack and the murder of Dagoth. How is your investigation going, Stephen? Captain America asks, but Strange shakes his head as he tells the captain that they're at a dead end. Don't give up, Doctor. Captain America out. Strange throws the Avengers hologram card away frustrated, and Wong tries to console him. But the young Strange falls to his couch, exclaiming that he just doesn't think that he's smart enough to solve his own murder. I thought myself so clever. I don't recognize this world, what the universe has become. This life was led for years in my subjective future. I don't recognize any of the people. How did I think that this would work? He demands of himself, but Clea walks forward, kissing him on the cheek. You thought you were Doctor Strange, master of the black arts, and I believe in you. Because at the moment in time you come from, you still believe that you can fix anything. Strange sits around as everyone leaves him to think about everything that is going on until his ghost Basset Hound shows up asking if he would like to go for walkies. They walk through the quiet night as Strange runs through his thought process on the case, pointing out that it should have been Mordo, since as far as this Strange knows, he's the one that hates Doctor Strange the most. But look at it this way, who hates you both? Bats pointed out, explaining that whoever did this used Mordo's own methods to set him up, knowing that everyone would believe that it was Mordo. The real murderer also did a blow against Mordo by taking the murder of Doctor Strange away from Baron Mordo. Who would attack us both? Doctor Strange ponders, and the answer suddenly springs into his mind as he begins to run through the park. Come on, Bats! I have a lead! He shouts over his shoulder, leaping into the air and floating away as he tells Bats that they have to gather everyone together. Bats asks him why, and Strange tells him, because this is a mystery, little friend, and that's how it's done. So, Strange gathers everyone and walks through a portal flanked by Clea and Magic, who tell him that the X-Men are on standby. Inside, he sees a gathering of extra-dimensional warlords as well as Mordo and Calculus. You all know who I am. You all know what's been done to me, and you all know which of you are actually guilty in this crime, he says as a way of greeting, and the warlords greet him, making snide comments and angry statements. But Strange ignores them, going on to explain what has actually happened in this entire situation. He explains that the powers of the four warlords were channeled through a pawn, who only joined forces with them for self-preservation, wishing to escape the Earth, fleeing from the Perjuran child and the three mothers, hoping the combined efforts of the heroes of Earth could stop them. And for all of that to happen, the Sorcerer Supreme had to have been slain. So they needed to find someone with a personal grudge against Strange, and it took some time for Strange to figure it out, but he finally did, turning to the gathering. I was told that I exiled a man into the purple dimension, a man who served as a dire enemy of mine, he says, pointing out that Mordo never tried to save his servant. Isn't that right, Calculus? He asks, whirling around and pointing at the magician. The man begins to grin, and then he laughs, reaching down, removing his gloves. God, Strange! You really do enjoy hearing yourself talk. You are correct, of course. This has been such fun. He says, completely removing the gloves to reveal that Dr. Strange's hands have been grafted onto his body, and the power of the Sorcerer Supreme is now coursing through him. And I will kill you again with your own power. The young Doctor Strange stands ready, his hands glowing as Calculus prepares a spell with Strange's own hands that were grafted onto his body. The three mothers are here! The Perjurin child is here! One of the Agamon shouts from the window as the sound of destruction reaches them, and he holds out his hand, creating a portal and bidding them all farewell. But Doctor Strange stops him, explaining that Wong has already cast a spell of binding upon the castle, which will allow none of them to leave. For once, dear warlords, you will be made to face the consequence of your own actions. Either we will prevail here today, or we will all die. Dr. Strange tells them in a shout of anger. Are you forgetting something? Calculus shouts as he attacks them with a spell, but Strange easily blocks it. It would be easy to do so. For all of your stolen power, for all of your rage, you are still painfully insignificant, Calculus. He says, holding out his hand, sensing all of the power that Calculus wields, all of the spells that he has cast. You have shield after shield, ward after ward. No combat spell may touch you. No weapon may hurt you, Strange says, holding up his hands and preparing his own spell. The Dark Wizard sneers back at him, whirling his hands into his own spells, and Doctor Strange retaliates with his own spell. But it doesn't seem to have an effect as Calculus knocks him to the ground. What was that? He demands, and Doctor Strange looks up at him smiling, explaining that he cast the one spell that Calculus wouldn't think to protect himself from. I'm a doctor. I cast a healing spell. A spell of regeneration, one that requires still living flesh and a soul for a base, and raw materials to be converted, consumed, with which to reconstruct. Calculus looks down at his hands in shock as they are now beginning to glow blue, and he doubles over as this light envelops his body. You can't do this, Strange! It's inhumane! And Strange nods as he stands back up. I am a master of black magic. I am inhuman when it is required. Perhaps in time, I will grow to be kinder and more merciful. In fact, I believe I do. But that man, you murdered! Doctor Strange tells him as he watches, no sign of kindness in his eyes. Calculus stands up and everyone looks in shock as the present Doctor Strange stands before them once more, revived from the dead through his own hands. I believe the word you're looking for is zounds. The young Doctor Strange tells his older version. Welcome back, Doctor. I'm afraid we won't have time for reunions. We have to go to war. He explains to his older self, and at that moment the fight begins with the X-Men and the Avengers arriving, fighting against the might of the Three Mothers. Inside of the castle, the young Doctor explains everything to the older Doctor. My mistake. I will not survive this battle. I've solved your murder and even undone it. But what I've asked you, demanded of you, is more important than all of that. From one dead man to another. Heed my advice, Doctor. The young Doctor Strange tells himself after their conversation. The two sorcerers gather with the other warlords and wizards outside, the fight raging on, with the mothers beginning to get the upper hand on our heroes. But both Doctor Stranges know this. They know that the battle would be lost without their heroes, and they know that they cannot win alone. This is a war of wizards, of sorcerers. The cloak flutters behind him as he appears upon the battlefield. The Sorcerer Supremes have gathered, creating a pentagram, a sign of protection. 5 Sorcerer Supreme sisters, we cannot hold it. The Three Mothers shout as they are now banished again by the ultimate might of all of the Sorcerer Supremes. They call upon their child, demanding that he help them, keep them from being banished. And the strange, dark child smiles, his eyes shining. Yes, for you, mothers, my power. He growls, but the spirit of the young Doctor Strange swoops in, reaching for the perjuring child. No fear, child, for you face Doctor Strange, the master of black magic. He shouts. The child reaches out for the astral form, clutching at our young Doctor Strange. And he shouts back, "Hold your spells!" to the other Sorcerer Supremes. But the young Doctor Strange knows what he is doing as he is consumed by the child. The young version, the one that was brought to our time period to solve the death, disappears, but opens his eyes within the form of the child, great magical energy flowing in him. "Like gasoline waiting for a match, and I will burn so brightly," he says with a smile. "That's it! He's done it!" Doctor Strange shouts to his friend as this child is clutching his stomach. But as that child is about to explode, our current-day Doctor Strange casts one more spell, teleporting everyone away before the magical explosion can undo their world. The battle is won. The heroes gather victorious, having defeated the three mothers, having defeated the perjuring child, and having solved the murder of Doctor Strange, and reanimated him. Doctor Strange pulls Clea close to him, hugging his wife, explaining to her that the young Strange told him that he was a fool for giving up on her, for any reason at all. And she smiles at him, explaining that she doesn't intend to let him repeat his mistake. But Strange smiles sadly, knowing that death will not give him up so easily, as he begins to twinkle, and the magical energy that revived him from the dead is now being pulled from him. You see, death cannot be cheated even by the Sorcerer Supreme, and Clea realizes what is happening, that Doctor Strange is dying once more. She tells him that she will not allow it. "You have my heart, you always will, but I must ask you to take upon yourself something else, Clea. It is unfair, in a life that has already been unfair to us, but I can trust no one else." He leans forward, and she whispers, "Of course," as the two share their final kiss. Doctor Strange drifts away to the world of death. Sadness is now in her eyes as she stands there, holding the cloak of levitation and the eye of Agamotto, as Clea is now Earth's newest Sorcerer Supreme. And that concludes the death of Doctor Strange, which I'm actually shocked he stayed dead. I know he came back for that big triumphant final battle where they had to defeat everything, but overall, I enjoyed this storyline. I really did. I hope you guys did as well. There is one more time, but we're actually not going to cover it because it really has nothing to do with the event, and it took place right in the middle of that big battle. But if you're curious, there is one called The Death of Doctor Strange, Elsa Bloodstone. I love the character of Elsa Bloodstone. I love that story, but I feel like it's setting up for another storyline, like it's a pitch book to try and get you to check out Elsa Bloodstone. Hopefully, it'll get a full series, and then I'll put that issue into that. Either way, thank you guys so much for your continued support. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let me know in the comments down below what your favorite part of The Death of Doctor Strange was. I'll see you next time, right here.